let's turn to the UK now, where there is a new resident at number 10 Downing Street. This morning, Andy Burnham became the country's newest prime minister. He took over from outgoing PM Keir Starmer, who formerly submitted his resignation to King Charles at Buckingham Palace today. Last month, Starmer announced he would be stepping down following mounting calls from within his own party to go. Burnham, now Britain's 7th prime minister in a decade, called for unity in his address. I know, it's crazy.
I will give this my all, and I ask you all to pull with me. Let's build a new national sense of unity, of common purpose and positivity. Let us make this the moment when Britain starts to believe again.
All right. For more on this, we're joined by CBS News senior foreign correspondent Imtiaz Tyab, who is outside number 10 for us this morning. Imtiaz, good to see you as always, my friend. So for those here across the pond who may be unfamiliar with Andy Burnham, who is he and what direction is he likely to take the UK that is different from Prime Minister Starmer and the other 5 that came before him?
And the other one before that, and the other one before that, and the other one before that. I could keep going 7 times. Look, bud, I know you love a great Game of Thrones reference. He is known as the King of the North. Now, let me explain what that means. He was the mayor, up until very recently, of Greater Manchester, an area representing millions of people. And he did a pretty good job. You know, he made buses faster. People like that sort of thing. He really worked on homelessness. People like that sort of thing. And he really seemed to be able to speak to the needs of everyday people. And that's really important in UK politics right now, at a time when things have become so polarized. You know, historically, we've always had the Conservative Party and the Labour Party, but much smaller parties to the far right and to the far left, which is Nigel Farage's Reform UK, and the Greens have really picked off a lot of voters who might have been in the middle. And that is who Andy Burnham is trying to talk to. And that speech that he made out here, relatively brief one, in front of supporters and people that were close to him, it really felt to me that he was speaking to the middle of the UK who really feel like they've been left behind, something that they felt like Keir Starmer, the former prime minister, just didn't do for them, that he wasn't able to address the cost of living. He wasn't able to get his hands around immigration, which is such a dividing issue in this country. But again, we've seen a lot of prime ministers come through that door. I've seen a lot of them myself. So a lot of work ahead for the new prime minister, Andy Burnham. Guys.
So it's not actually a revolving door, but, you know,
sort of.
It kind of is. What is it going to take for this guy to stay? And why hasn't a prime minister been able to remain in office for longer than, you know, a couple of years at number 10?
Yeah, or a couple of weeks in the case of Liz Truss. I'll be honest with you guys, if I had that answer, I'd probably be the highest paid political consultant in Britain right now. There's a real problem with UK politics, as evidenced by the fact that we keep seeing prime minister after prime minister. I think we can trace this all the way back to Brexit. 10 years ago, the Brexit referendum happened. We saw David Cameron resign. We then saw Theresa May resign. We then saw Boris Johnson come in. He resigned because he liked to party during COVID. That saw him lose his job. Right. You then had Liz Truss come in, disastrous prime minister who kind of drove the economy off a cliff very quickly. She was out. In came Rishi Sunak, who, you know, some would argue did a reasonably good job for a time. But then when it came to having an election, he lost the country and suffered a historic defeat for the Conservative Party. Enter Keir Starmer, who won a historic landslide for the Labour Party. And here we are 2 years after that historic electoral victory. He's out of a job. And it really, again, speaks to the fact that people here in Britain just don't feel like their leaders are really addressing the needs that they're facing at the moment. Of course, cost of living is something that people around the world are facing. There are other issues that are bitterly dividing British society. And I think, again, as we've been saying for Andy Burnham, he's got a lot on his inbox on his first day on the job. Guys.
He sure does. Imtiaz, thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate it.